Hello, my name is Celine Innocent, and I'm doing a video called Recognizing Your Philosophy and Style of Leadership. And I figured I'd post this on YouTube also so that I can expand it to people who may need it. And this is basically chapter 3, Introduction to Leadership by Peter G. Northouse. Alright, so we're going to focus on what philosophy of leadership is. And basically, that's how others respond to you, how they respond to their work, and how effective you are as a leader. By nature, we have our own unique set of beliefs and attitudes. So, what one thing might work for one person may not necessarily work for another person. And persons' view of people, work, and human nature forms a personal philosophy of leadership. And basically, that's your first impression on somebody. When usually you see like a hobo or something on the ground, you think, oh, they didn't deserve this, and then you take that leadership and try to help them out, but sometimes that may not work. They might end up being back where they started. We're going to focus on 3 styles of leadership: authoritarian, democratic, laissez-faire. And for the United States, we try to go for democratic, but sometimes the president has the right to be authoritarian whenever he feels like it. Just like when George W. Bush, he declared war on the Iraqis. Alright, there are 2 assumptions in this chapter. That's theory X and theory Y. Theory X is made up of 3 assumptions about human nature and human behavior. And basically, the first assumption is the average person dislikes work and would avoid it if possible. So that'd be your lazy person, someone who doesn't want to get up off the couch or do anything at all. The second assumption is basically because people dislike work, they need to be directed, controlled, and sometimes threatened with punishment or reminded of rewards to make them work. So that's still your lazy person because they dislike work, they need to be directed and controlled. People want security, not responsibility. And that leads us to assumption 3. The average person prefers to be directed, wishes to avoid responsibility, has little ambition, and wants security more than choice. So when you go to work, you always see that one person that's just there to make money, get their bills paid. I mean, they may not have gone to college, but they're still putting food on the table. That would basically be your theory X type of leader. For theory Y, that's basically people who like to work, people who are self-motivated, people who accept and seek responsibility. For the assumptions for theory Y, number 1, the average person does not inherently dislike work, doing work as natural as play. Like, they do it just for fun. I mean, when I go to work, it's so much fun because I love talking to customers. Because I work at Forever 21, it's a blast. Like, just talking to new people every day. Assumption number 2, people will show responsibility and self-control toward goals to which they are committed. If they want to get something done, they'll do it. They don't need to be axed completely all the time, That's something they want to do in life. They don't need to be directed. And assumption number 3, in the proper environment, the average person learns to accept and seek responsibility. I mean, that's like growing up. You get to that point where you have to take responsibility of all your actions. Some people, they never grow up. They're just little kids their entire life. And that's not going to get them anywhere, So now that leads us into leadership style, which basically is the behaviors of leaders, focusing on what leaders do and how they act. So, this refers back to authoritarian leadership and democratic leadership and laissez-faire leadership. So, our democratic one and our authoritarian one, they're both either theory X or theory Y, but laissez-faire is kind of neither. I'll show you why. The authoritarian is more theory X because they feel like all the subordinates need direction. So all the people underneath them, they feel like they're nothing. They have to be their boss, you know. They don't encourage communication among group members, mainly because I guess they feel like the subordinates are gonna all gang up on the leader, you know, like they're gonna actually think out the box, you know, together as one because you know two heads are better than one, and they're very mean. I mean, some examples of an authoritarian leader is a Hitler, Martha Stewart, Bill Gates, Paul Kagame, and Hugo Chavez. I mean, Hitler, he is the most popular one because Hitler, he got his subordinates to basically kill millions on top of millions of Jewish kids and families and sons and daughters, you know. And then Martha Stewart, I mean, she did it illegally, but she still managed to do it, you know, because she got all her employees to do something that they weren't supposed to do. And I feel like Bill Gates, he's an authoritarian leader because, I mean, he got Microsoft as a simple software to this major company basically by directing people. I mean, if he just worked together as one, you know, like Apple does, there's sometimes going to be a software that doesn't work and they're going to always need upgrades. But Microsoft pulls one out and it's perfect, you know. I mean, yeah, when the Xbox 360 came out, they pulled it out a little too quickly, but in the end, they still got what they needed to do done, you know. Next, we're going to go into democratic leadership, which is similar to theory Y because, you know, they do it on their own. You know, they don't need any other person to tell them how to do things. You know, they work together as one. Leaders work with subordinates, working together as one, like I said. But, you know, this one, they're asking the subordinates for advice and, like, how things can be improved, you know? And they try their best to make everyone equal. They give suggestions to others rather than trying to change them. I mean, authoritarian, they just tell them, oh, I need to do this, 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 this. I need to be like this, you know? That's the difference between democratic and authoritarian. But, I mean, democratics, it's like more of a family. An authoritarian is more like I'm in high school and my principal is telling me that I need to do this in order for me to graduate, you know, or I'm not going to be successful in life. Some examples of Democratic leaders are Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Nancy Pelosi, and George Washington. I mean, Barack Obama is the most recent one I figured everyone could understand because he started from a very, very unfortunate location to where he is now, and he's working with everybody else as much as he possibly can so that America becomes successful. Next, we're going to go into the laissez-faire leadership. It's neither X or Y. I mean, they really don't care about anyone at all. I mean, they don't take control of the subordinates. They don't nurture and guide the subordinates. I mean, the workers can do whatever they want because there's no leadership at all. I mean, at first when I seen this, I figured, oh, there's nobody in the United States that ever tried to do that. But I thought about it, and maybe I could find at least one leader, you know. But I found five: Willy Wonka, President Hoover, Ronald Reagan, Thomas Jefferson, and Jack Welch. I mean, they may not have been laissez-faire leaders the entire time, but there was a point in history where they actually did do nothing at all. I mean, somebody else took control. I threw Willy Wonka in there because I feel like everyone's seen Willy Wonka. You know how the Oompa Loompas can basically do whatever they want? That is basically laissez-faire. You know, they can run around, eat chocolate, eat whatever they want to do. You know, make themselves orange with green hair. That's perfect in Willy Wonka land. You know, but continuing, I mean, I want you to sit back and think about what type of leader you are. Are you laissez-faire, authoritarian, or democratic? I feel like I'm kind of in between democratic and authoritarian because there's points where I'm really mean, and then there's other points where I'm really nice, you know. I mean, it depends on my mood, what type of leadership I do. And with that, I suggest you go find who you are.